I know what you're going through right now. That crushing weight in your chest every time you wake up and remember they're gone. That obsessive need to check their social media, hoping for any sign that they're thinking about you. That desperate urge to send just one more message, convinced that the right words will bring them back. But what if I told you that everything you're doing right now is working against you? What if I told you that there's an invisible force more powerful than any words you could say that's already working to bring your ex back to you? And the only thing you need to do is stop interfering with it. That force is time itself. And today, I'm going to reveal how Chronos, the ancient Greek god of time, is secretly your greatest ally in getting your ex back. But only if you understand how to work with him, not against him. Before we dive deep into this psychological revelation, hit that subscribe button because on this channel, we expose the hidden truths about human psychology, attraction, and the invisible forces that control our relationships. Now, let me ask you something crucial. How long has it been since the breakup? A week? 2 weeks? A month? Whatever your answer, I need you to understand something that will completely change how you see this situation. Every single day that passes is not taking your ex further away from you. Every single day is actually distorting their memory of you in ways that work in your favor. But here's the catch. This only works if you're not there. If you're constantly texting, calling, appearing in their notifications, you're freezing time. You're preventing the natural psychological process that would inevitably pull them back to you. Let me explain the brutal truth about what happened the moment your ex broke up with you. In that moment, their brain took a snapshot, a photograph of who you were, how you made them feel, and why they wanted to leave. That snapshot included all the negative emotions, all the problems, all the reasons they convinced themselves the relationship had to end. And right now, if the breakup is fresh, that snapshot is crystal clear in their mind. They can see every detail, every argument, every moment of disappointment, every reason they told themselves they'd be better off without you. This is why trying to get them back immediately after a breakup almost never works. You're fighting against a high-definition image of everything that went wrong. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where Chronos begins his work. The human brain is not a camera. It's not a hard drive that stores perfect copies of reality. The human brain is a storyteller. And like all storytellers, it edits, it exaggerates, it distorts, and most importantly, it forgets. Neuroscience has proven something absolutely fascinating. Every time you remember something, you're not accessing the original memory. You're accessing the last time you remembered it. You're creating a copy of a copy of a copy. And with each copy, details change. Emotions shift. Perspectives alter. Think about your own childhood memories. That amazing birthday party when you were 7. That family vacation when you were 10. If you're honest with yourself, you know those memories have been edited over time. The good parts got better. The bad parts faded away. You remember the highlights, not the boring moments in between. You remember the feeling, not the exact reality. This is not a bug in human psychology. It's a feature. It's how our brains protect us from being overwhelmed by information. And it's exactly what's happening in your ex's mind right now. In the first few days after the breakup, your ex's memory of you is dominated by recency bias. They remember the end, the problems, the reasons they left. Their brain is flooded with justification chemicals. They need to believe they made the right decision. They need to convince themselves that leaving you was the smart choice. And every negative memory gets amplified to support that narrative. But here's the secret that changes everything. This effect has a half. It decays over time. And the speed of that decay depends entirely on one factor. Your absence. When you disappear from your ex's life, when you stop providing new data points, something remarkable happens. Their brain runs out of fresh material. The snapshot begins to fade. The high-definition image starts to blur. And when the brain can't access clear recent memories, it does something automatic. It reaches further back. It goes to the archive. It pulls out the older memories. The early days, the honeymoon phase. The moments when everything was perfect. And here's the beautiful irony. Those old positive memories are actually more emotionally vivid than the recent negative ones. Psychologists call this the fading affect bias. Negative emotions attached to memories fade faster than positive emotions. That fight you had 3 months ago. In your ex's memory right now, the anger is already starting to dissolve. But that perfect date you had 6 months ago, the joy, the excitement, the attraction, those emotions are preserved like insects in amber. Time is literally eroding the bad and preserving the good. But only if you're not there to create new negative associations. Every time you send a desperate text, you're creating a new memory, a new data point. And that data point is coded with negative emotions, neediness, desperation, low value. You're giving their brain fresh material to justify the breakup. You're updating the snapshot. You're working against, but when you disappear, when you go completely silent, you force their brain to work with old material. And old material always skews positive. Let me give you a perfect example. Think about your ex from 5 years ago, if you had one. How do you feel about them now? Unless it was a truly toxic relationship, you probably remember them with a kind of nostalgic warmth. You remember the good times? You've forgotten most of the daily annoyances? You might even wonder sometimes what would have happened if you'd stayed together. That's Chronos, at work. That's time distorting memory in favor of positive emotions. And the exact same process is happening in your current ex's mind. But it takes time, and it requires your absence. Now, let's talk about the second way time works in your favor, the contrast effect. Right now, your ex is probably feeling relief. They're enjoying their freedom. Maybe they're going out more. Maybe they're talking to new people. Maybe they're convincing themselves that single life is amazing. And you know what? Let them. Because here's what they don't realize. They're creating a comparison. Every new person they meet will be measured against you. Every new experience will be compared to what they had with you. And here's the psychological truth that nobody talks about. New is exciting, but new is also exhausting. Your ex doesn't have to explain their childhood to you. You already know. They don't have to perform for you. You already accepted them. They don't have to wonder if you'll be there tomorrow. You already proved your loyalty. All of that comfort, all of that security, all of that deep knowing, they took it for granted when they had it. But now they have to start from zero with everyone new. They have to tell their stories again. They have to wonder if this new person will accept their flaws. They have to build trust from scratch. And after a few weeks or months of that, something shifts in their brain. They start to realize that what they had with you wasn't ordinary. It was rare. But this realization doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually. It happens as time passes and they accumulate experiences that don't measure up. It happens when they're sick and they instinctively want to call you, but remember they can't. It happens when something funny happens and they think you would have laughed. It happens when they hear your song on the radio, and each of these moments is a small crack in the narrative they told themselves about why they had to leave. Here's the third way Chronos works in your favor, the curiosity gap. Humans are psychologically wired to close open loops. When there's a question without an answer, our brains become obsessed. It's why cliffhangers work in TV shows. It's why you can't stop thinking about an unfinished argument. It's why a mystery is more interesting than a known fact. And when you disappear from your ex's life, you create the ultimate open loop. What are they doing? Who are they with? Have they moved on? Are they happy? Are they sad? Do they even think about me anymore? Your ex expected you to chase them. They mentally prepared for your desperate messages. They were ready to feel annoyed by your neediness. They had their rejection speech ready. But when none of that happens, when you simply vanish, their brain goes into overdrive. The story doesn't make sense anymore. They broke up with you, so why aren't you fighting for them? They rejected you, so why aren't you devastated? This cognitive dissonance creates psychological tension. And the only way to resolve that tension is to think about you constantly, to check your social media, to ask mutual friends about you, to wonder and wonder and wonder. And every day that you remain silent, that curiosity intensifies. It becomes an itch they can't scratch, a question they can't answer. And here's the beautiful part. While they're obsessing over you, While they're trying to figure out what you're doing and how you're feeling, they're actually rebuilding their attraction to you. Because we are attracted to mysteries. We are attracted to what we can't have. We are attracted to what we don't fully understand. Your silence is doing more to make you attractive than any words ever could. Now, let me tell you about the fourth and most powerful way time distorts memory in your favor: the idealization effect. This is where Chronos becomes your greatest weapon. Here's what happens in your ex's brain as weeks turn into months. The specific details of your relationship start to fade. They forget the exact words of your arguments. They forget the small, daily annoyances. They forget the mundane, boring moments. But they don't forget the feeling. They don't forget the essence. They don't forget the emotional highlights. And when the details fade, but the feelings remain, something magical happens. You become idealized. You become the one that got away. You become the relationship they wonder about. You become the standard against which everyone else is measured. And here's the kicker. This idealized version of you is actually more attractive than the real you ever was, because it's not based on reality anymore. It's based on selective memory. It's based on the greatest hits compilation. It's based on the fantasy of what could have been. And you cannot compete with an idealized memory by being present and real and flawed. You can only maintain that idealization by staying absent and mysterious. Think about famous people who died young. James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Kurt Cobain. Part of their legendary status comes from the fact that they never got old. They never disappointed us. They never had a mediocre phase. They're frozen in time at their peak, and that's exactly what you become in your ex's memory when you disappear. You become frozen at your best. You become the highlight reel. You become the fantasy. But I need to warn you about something critical. This process only works if you're actually improving yourself during this time. If you're sitting at home, depressed, stalking their social media, waiting for them to come back, you're wasting the gift that Chronos is giving you. Because here's the ultimate truth. When enough time has passed, when your ex's memory has been sufficiently distorted in your favor, when the curiosity becomes unbearable, when the idealization is complete, they will reach out. They will send that casual message. They will create an excuse to contact you. And in that moment, you need to be the improved version of yourself. You need to be someone who validates the idealized memory they've created. This is why the time apart is not just about them. It's about you. While Chronos is distorting their memory in your favor, you need to be actually becoming the person they're remembering. You need to be going to the gym. You need to be pursuing your goals. You need to be developing new skills. You need to be becoming more attractive, more confident, because when they finally see you again, whether in person or through social media, they need to think, wow, they're even better than I remembered. That's when the spell becomes complete. That's when the distorted memory meets an improved reality. That's when they realize they made a mistake. Let me share something that most relationship experts won't tell you because it's not comfortable to hear. Some exes won't come back. Some relationships are truly over. Some people are genuinely wrong for you. And that's okay, because here's the secret within the secret. This process of understanding how time works, of learning to be absent, of focusing on self-improvement, of allowing Chronos to do his work, this process transforms you regardless of whether your ex comes back. You become someone who doesn't need external validation. You become someone who understands the psychology of attraction. You become someone who knows their worth. And that person is infinitely more attractive to everyone, including potential new partners who might be even better than your ex. But let's say your ex does reach out. Let's say after weeks or months of silence, you get that message. Hey, how have you been? Or, I was thinking about you, or can we talk? This is the moment where most people destroy everything Chronos has built for them. They respond immediately with a flood of emotion. They revealed that they've been waiting desperately for this moment. They show their entire hand, and in that instant, the idealized memory shatters. The mystery dissolves. The attraction evaporates, because they realize you were just sitting there waiting for them all along. You weren't the improved, mysterious, Havali person they imagined. You were the same desperate person they left. So here's what you do instead. You wait. Not days, but hours. Long enough that they wonder if you even care that they reached out. And when you do respond, you're friendly but brief. You're warm but not available. You acknowledge them without chasing them. Hey, I'm good. Hope you're well too. And then nothing. No questions. No extension of the conversation. No eagerness. Because even in this moment, you need to maintain the mystery. You need to keep the idealized memory intact. You need to make them work for your attention. If they truly want you back, they'll persist. They'll ask to meet. They'll try to have a real conversation. And even then, you don't make it easy. You're busy. You have plans. You have a life. You can meet next week, maybe, because the person who cares less has the power. The person who's willing to walk away has the leverage. And after all the work Chronos has done to distort their memory in your favor, you cannot throw away that advantage by being too available. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with. Time is the most powerful force in human psychology. It heals wounds. It changes perspectives. It distorts memories. It creates longing. It builds mystery. It generates curiosity. And it works automatically, constantly, inevitably. But only if you let it. Only if you step back. Only if you disappear. Only if you stop interfering with the natural process. Every text you send, every call you make, every like on their social media, you're stopping the clock. You're preventing Chronos from doing his work. You're keeping the memory fresh and accurate instead of letting it fade and idealize. So here's what you do right now. You make a decision. You decide to trust the process. You decide to let time be your ally instead of your enemy. You decide to disappear completely and focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You decide to let Chronos distort your ex's memory in your favor while you actually improve the reality. And then you wait. Not desperately, not obsessively, but patiently and confidently, because you understand something your ex doesn't. You understand that time is on your side. You understand that every day that passes is a day that makes you more attractive in their memory. You understand that absence creates longing in a way that presence never could. And whether your ex comes back or not, whether this relationship is meant to be or not, you win. Because you've learned to harness the power of time. You've learned to let go. You've learned to focus on yourself. You've learned that your worth is not determined by whether someone chooses you. And those lessons will serve you for the rest of your life in every relationship you ever have. That's the real secret. That's what Chronos is really teaching you. Not just how to get your ex back, but how to become the kind of person who doesn't need to chase anyone. The kind of person who is so complete, so confident, so valuable, that people naturally gravitate toward you. The kind of person who understands that time reveals truth. And truth always favors those who are genuinely working on themselves. So trust Chronos, trust time, trust the process, and most importantly, trust yourself. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we'll continue revealing the psychological truths that transform your relationships and your life. Remember, you are not broken. You are not worthless. You are simply learning one of life's most important lessons. And on the other side of this pain is a version of you that you'll be proud to become. See you in the next video.